So I'm up early and I'm not that cheery in the morning, and I'm driving, me and my props. I love my props. Let me see if we can get this working here. This next to me. So I'm driving along and I'm listening to the radio, and I'm not in the best of moods, but I'm thinking in the back of my head about all right, Christian. Hold on, that's too soon. So I'm driving along, and I'm not in a very good mood, right? But I'm still thinking, I'm on my way to Bible study. This is what God's called me to do. I'm doing my job, right? But, and I'm thinking back, this song comes on the radio. And I'm like, yeah, that's a pretty good question. What is love, You guys should think more about it. You guys can do this with me. So I'm driving along, and I'm change the station, And what's the worst thing when you're in a grumpy mood? Like a really corny love song comes on. You guys know this song, right? And I'm like, he's talking to me. I'm not in a very good mood right now. And I started to think, okay, I'm doing the right thing, but this song is talking about that love and feeling, not something that you do. Love is a feeling. I'm like, whoa. Anyway, so I keep driving, and I'm tired of this song, so I'm gonna change it. Anyway, so I decided to change it. That song's just making me more angry. And then this song comes on. It said, you doing that thing you do. I'm like, that's right, I'm doing that thing I do. That's my faith. Right? It's not that love and feeling. And so here I am driving along and conflicted about, all right, God's called me to love. Is it something that you do, or is love something that you feel? Okay? That's where I'm at right now. So I'm just driving along, tuning through the radio. That thing you do. What is this, Disney radio? You feel the love. You guys with me here? Can you feel the love tonight? Now it's back to this. First I think it's something you do, then I think it's something that you feel, and now this again is from The Lion King, right? It's talking about, can you feel the love tonight, right? Not can you do the love tonight, that'd be inappropriate. So I changed it again. You guys know this song? Felt this way before. Again, talking about love as a feeling. Now I'm starting to suspect something like, maybe God's trying to tell me something. All these songs keep coming on the radio. Maybe I've been missing out. Maybe love is a feeling and not something that you do.
Yes, I swear it's a truth.
So I changed it. Is there any song that's not about a feeling?
It's just a feeling.
No, there isn't. And I put these songs together in a specific order, but seriously, I did hear all these songs on the radio. And they're all like love songs, but it was clear to me after listening to all these songs that maybe I was missing something, and maybe love is a feeling and not something that you do. Now, I was aware of that verse that says, faith without works is dead. You guys heard that one? Get out of the car here. Faith without works is dead. So, later on, I confronted God about this, and I said, God, I'm doing the right things. Am I doing the wrong thing by doing the right thing, And is it a feeling that you're calling me to? And so I went to Scripture. I said, I know there's that verse that says, faith without works is dead. Like, what you do matters, right? That's what it's all about. And so whenever I have a question these days, I try and go to the Scripture. Like, that's what God calls us to do. You don't make it up. You just go and read the Scripture and find the answer. Or if you can't find it, you ask someone that knows the answer, or someone that can point you to it. So I opened the Scriptures, and I opened the book of Mark, the same book where I found the greatest commandment. And I started reading, so Mark chapter 6. And I'm reading about Christ, and I want to see, is love a feeling, or is love something that you do, right? So I start reading, and it says, Jesus was just coming back. He was on a boat. He got off. He saw a large crowd, and he had compassion on them. Okay? He saw a large crowd, and he had compassion on them. That sounds like a feeling to me. That's the first thing that happened. He gets out, and he sees a crowd, and he's like, wow, I love these people. I could ask you, when's the last time you saw a crowd and you thought, this is awesome? Crowds are like the worst thing ever. You're like, what are all these people doing here, Anyway, so he saw a large crowd. He had compassion on them because they were like sheep without a shepherd. Okay? And then what does he do? Then he feeds 5,000 people. Right? That's the doing. But what came first? I have compassion on these people. Then he feeds them. He does this amazing thing. But what comes before? I love these people. That's why I'm doing this. And so I kept reading Mark chapter 7. So the Pharisees and teachers of the law asked Jesus, why don't your disciples live according to the tradition of the elders instead of eating foods with their defiled hands? Isaiah was right when he prophesied about you hypocrites, as it is written. These people honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. They worship me in vain. Their teachings are merely human rules. You have a fine way of setting aside the commands of God in order to observe your own traditions. And at this point, I was starting to feel a little bit convicted, is this me? Am I doing this? And that's been a good question, and I'll just throw it out there, and if you guys want to think about it, I think it's really fruitful. But I ask, as I've grown in my walk as a lover of Christ, how have I become in any way like a Pharisee? Because I think that's easy to do. And the Pharisees were the guys that were doing all the right things. They minded their manners, they, did all the right things, and they were saying that they loved God, but inside they're thinking about, cheating people or power. And so this was clear to me that there's so many times that I've lost that love and feeling, and yet I'm still doing the right thing.